There's a hidden city of emotions, passing notes to one another through light, memory, and breath. Joy arrives first in pastel colors, bubblegum dawn spilling across bedroom walls. A melody skipping barefoot through the nervous system, turning ordinary mornings cinematic. She lives in sugar-sweet laughter and spinning under supermarket lights at midnight, and the impossible courage of believing tomorrow might feel brighter. Every smile leaves constellations briefly visible. Every small wonder rewrites gravity. The soul expands easiest when delight is allowed to exist without apology. Each emotion carries its own frequency, different weather moving through the same sky. Together they create the impossible language that makes us human. Emotions bloom in ultraviolet colors tonight, a cosmic carousel turning beneath the rims. Every ache, every spark, every impossible contradiction. We speak in tears, we speak in laughter, we speak through trembling hands, reaching for connection. The universe translates us through feeling joy beside grief, love beside fear. No emotion arriving by mistake, everyone a star inside the atlas of the soul. Sorrow enters wearing rain glass perfume, soft enough to cradle broken memories carefully. She reminds the body that mourning exists because love once mattered enough to wound us. And love arrives luminous and terrifying, all midnight constellations and shaking breath. It folds strangers into orbit around one another, asks vulnerability to become sacred. Anger follows like electric weather, and neon lightning across dark water. Not cruelty, sometimes simply pain, refusing silence anymore. And somewhere between them all, the heart keeps conducting anyway. Fear waits quietly at unfamiliar doorways, imagining catastrophe before it arrives. Yet surprise keeps opening, skylights unexpectedly. Small miracles interrupting the static. Anticipation glows like unopened letters. The ache before becoming, the inhale before the chorus finally breaks open. Even disgust carries hidden wisdom, a compass pointing toward violated boundaries, toward instincts trying desperately to protect what remains tender. Emotions growing like roots beneath concrete. Loneliness echoes wide as empty train stations. Anxiety hums fluorescent through sleepless nights. Depression dims the world into grayscale weather. But hope survives like a tiny arcade light, still blinking after everyone else has gone home. Emotions swirl in endless galaxies inside us. Every feeling, another color in the cosmic spectrum. From cradle song wonder to grief-struck silence. The heart keeps composing. Despite everything, curiosity opens hidden doors in the dark. Gratitude softens the architecture of pain. Awe reminds us how fast existence truly is. A nostalgia turns memory into stained glass. This is the language human symphony beneath every life. We are not broken for feeling deeply. We are alive enough to sing. A masterpiece of stardust, unfinished, still glowing. And somewhere between heartbeats, the next song begins. You thought the silence meant surrender. That was your first mistake. The room applauded your little correction, that polished public incision. You smile like a manager extinguishing static, confident the hierarchy had stabilized. I lowered my eyes, softened the posture, let humility settle across the face like fresh snow over disturbed ground. Everyone relaxed. That is the dangerous moment, when predators believe the hunt is finished. Because silence does not sleep, it catalogs, stores tremors in the cadence, tracks contradictions beneath policy language, memorizes which mouths sharpen when promotion season approaches. You hear absence, I hear evidence accumulating. Silence is not weakness, it is a hallway with the lights removed. It watches through lowered lashes, counts every fracture in the foundation while you perform dominance for the witnesses. The quiet thing behind the smile is documenting your architecture. Patient creatures rarely need to chase. You mistook reaction for power, thought the loudest pulse controlled the room. But rage thins itself quickly, ego leaks through unnecessary movement. Silence survives longer, learn to drinks before meetings. Who edits timelines after mistakes? Who panics when accountability enters the thread? Who confuses authority with immunity? No threat spoken aloud, no sharpened spectacle, just the slow construction of an irreversible ledger. The mask matters. You never show teeth while gathering terrain. You nod. You thank them for feedback. You become smaller in all the expected ways. And beneath that performance, the quiet thing studies exits, patterns, alliances, not vengeance, correction, because monsters born from humiliation rarely scream while evolving. So laugh when the room falls still after you speak. Interpret restraint as submission if it comforts you. But silence has already entered the vents, already mapped the weaknesses beneath your certainty. The humble mask remains perfectly still while the predator behind it waits for timing instead of permission. And one day, without warning, the structure will collapse from pressure points. You never realized we're exposed. magenta and amethyst, I call upon thy color. Twin lanterns of dusk and dawn, violet fire and a rose-lit quiet. Come mingle in the air around me. Come paint the invisible armor that dreams remember when waking forgets. North to the air, breath opening the silent chambers of long to the fire. South to the fire, a hearth inside the marrow glowing calm. East to the earth, bed of stone beneath the dreaming bones. West to the water, cradle of tides rocking the mind towards sleep. Four directions circling the body gently like ancient guardians, whispering equilibrium, and above them all, two colors awaken. Magenta, amethyst, soft flames of spirit, braiding themselves through shadow. Let them mingle through the unseen corridors, through the crown of thought, through the shoulders where tension nests. From head to toe, their smoky ribbons unwind the knots the day is tied too tightly. Magenta and amethyst, wrap the spirit in quiet light. Let healing breathe through the body. Let sleep descend like evening rain. Where shadows once gathered as worry, now they soften into shelter, because color becomes the shield, and the shield becomes peace. Magenta above me, amethyst below, smoke of their union in slow rivers flow. Magenta within me, amethyst near, dreams find their doorway when colors appear. The tensions release their silent grip. Water lifts the cradle of breath, rocking the spine like a patient tide. Fire persists as a gentle ember, warming the bark of this living form. Smoke rises between them, a violet mist threading muscle and mind. Not choking, not burning, but cleansing the quiet corridors where worry once wandered. Amethyst and magenta weave softly like twilight, dissolving into dawning. Embrace the shadows not as enemies but companions, learning to rest. Magenta and amethyst, let the healing deepen to becomes the bed beneath the body. Spirit stands quiet like a solitary tree in evening wind. And around that tree a bubble begins to bloom, a sphere of color, rainbow breaths shimmering in silence. No blade of nightmare may pierce it, no wandering demon may cross its border. Rays drift near its quiet surface, but the shield does not tremble, because I embrace the shadows within. And what is welcome no longer attacks. Magenta rising from head to toe, amethyst circling with violet glow. Together they shimmer, together they weave the armor of dream where the spirit can breathe. I am the tree again, roots deep in the earth, drinking patience from stone, leaves whispering softly with every wandering breeze. The bark warmed by fire's quiet memory, water nourishing the unseen arteries of roots. And around the trunk of this living spirit, the shield glows brighter. Amethyst radiance, magenta warmth, a halo of quiet protection. Magenta and amethyst guard the night. Air breathes calm into the lungs. Earth steadies the dreaming body. Water rocks the mind into gentle tide. Fire warms the living bark of spirit, and within the luminous shield of color tree. Let's negotiate then. Pretend language still reaches me properly. You stand directly in front of me, yet already feel geographically distant. I noticed the splitting before I had words for it. The subtle drift behind the eyes, like consciousness loosening its grip, one finger at a time. The room kept speaking normally, mouths moved, light flickered politely against familiar surfaces, but something inside me stepped sideways from reality. No lock turned, no dramatic collapse arrived, only numbness spreading carefully through the architecture of perception. I watch myself answer conversations from several feet behind my own body. Borrowed gestures, borrowed voice, a performance stitched together from instinct. Reality echoed strangely there, distant as machinery underwater. Every truth arrived delayed, as though filtered through smoke and old tape. Yes, I built entire rooms between existing and feeling, a labyrinth made from survival, learning, abstraction. Silence became enormous there, stretching wider than language could cross. Obsidian dark without exit signs, a world belonging fully to no one. I walk through hollow corridors of consciousness, searching for warmth that still recognize my name. Seeing, but not arriving. Touching, but never entering. Loving through layers of unreality, while the self dissolved quietly beneath. The air wore itself like phantom fabric. Every object seemed emotionally disconnected from gravity. Even mirrors hesitated before returning my reflection, as though uncertain I still belonged there. Time lost continuity first, the memory softened at the edges. Soon entire afternoons disappeared. disappeared into static colored absences. People mistook my distance for calmness, never recognizing the emergency beneath stillness. The body can remain seated and smiling while the mind evacuates completely. I trace the outline of who I used to be along the walls of internal corridors, but every version blurred when touched. Watercolor identities dissolving under rain. This is the hollow between thought and time, not death, not dreaming something stranger. A place where pain becomes too large for the nervous system, and so the self folds inward carefully, mercifully, until reality can no longer fully enter. See me, but you won't arrive. Hear me, though I spoke clearly. Touch me, your hands pass through static. Love me, while I disappear slowly. I remain trapped in rooms I built unconsciously. Corridors form from unprocessed survival. No sunlight fully reaches this distance, yet still I search for warmth instinctively. Obsidian dark, no clear exit. Still the body keeps breathing through the unreality. Still some fragile instinct keeps moving toward connection. Maybe healing is not escape. Maybe it is learning to return gradually, to inhabit the self again without fear of collapse. To let reality touch the skin without retreating. I see you standing in front of me now, but part of me is still drifting elsewhere. I was never fully gone, only hidden in the rooms between existing. P-A-I-N. Some words stop being language after enough repetition. They become architecture. Patience became the religion I inherited early. Sit still, endure quietly. Mistakes, suppression for maturity. So I learned how to swallow discomfort elegantly. Let silence sediment beneath the ribs. Every heartbeat carried unfinished sermons about survival disguised as virtue. The world moved loudly around me, bright with performative certainty. Meanwhile, I perfected the art of appearing functional while internally dissolving. It carved itself invisibly beneath language, beneath posture, beneath sleep. Not dramatic enough for cinema, just constant enough to reshape a life. P-A-I-N. Patience taught me how to disappear gracefully. Attributed every wound to personal failure. Intruding thoughts bloomed unchecked in the dark, never fully gone, only quieter some days. It hummed beneath every smile. I rehearsed a low electrical ache behind ordinary moments. Not catastrophe, something subtler and therefore harder to explain. I wore suffering like like tailored fabric. No spectacle, no visible collapse. Only exhaustion refined into personality. The ache never screamed, it barely breathed. A static frequency living beneath consciousness, like distant machinery behind apartment walls. People mistake survival for wellness, constantly mistake composure for peace. But endurance leaves fingerprints too, in the jawline, the nervous system, the inability to fully rest. Every extra mile costs something cellular. Every "I'm fine" translated loosely into erosion. Still, I kept moving, not from strength, always habit. Patience did not make me numb. It made me adaptable to storms that should have drowned me. There is a difference. I bent around grief for so long, my spine learned new mathematics. And somewhere inside that distortion, something resilient quietly formed. P-A-I-N, patience became the language of survival. Attributed meaning to scars once carried in shame. Intruding memories still knock at the door. Some nights never absent, but no longer sovereign. I breathe differently now, not healed cleanly. Honestly, the ache still walks beside me, yes, but it no longer decides my worth. What once felt like imprisonment slowly transformed into instruction. I turned suffering into vocabulary, then built a future from the ruins of silence. Patience attributed, intruding, never, not gone, just carried differently now.
The palace glows with lantern fire tonight. 1,000 eyes reflecting who I seem. They bow before the legend of my fate, a gilded fiction polished into dream. But every corridor still echoes lies, perfume disguising tired sky. They praise a moon that never truly rose, a portrait carved from rumor's silk and art. Each reverent glance another quiet chain, wrapped softly around a borrowed heart. The court believes the masquerade, yet one sharp gaze refuses me. Camellias fall without a sound, their fragrance drifting through the ground. truth concealed in petal breath, a sweetness balanced close to death. She walks the halls like someone passing through, a servant's step, a scholar's restless mind, where others kneel before my crafted grace. Her quiet eyes remain unaligned. She reads the court the way one reads disease, symptoms hidden in the breeze. I rule a stage of painted reverence, a palace built from whispered praise. Yet all my practiced elegance falls strangely still beneath her gaze. Camellia petals drift across the air, soft snowfall underneath the lantern light. She walks the halls pretending not to care, yet every step of hers invades my sight. Two careful minds behind their quiet art, two distant stars that almost dare to start. The flowers breathe a truth we never share. Claims the court is nothing but a game, a garden thick with poison and deceit. Her hands remember mortar, root and flame, a language reason alone can speak. Yet when she turns and vanishes from view, the silence grows unbearably true. Camellias drift across the jade courtyard, a fragrance lingering where she stood, a subtle spell no emperor commands, a mystery no rank has understood. I've worn 1,000 faces, not my own, a mask perfected by imperial design. Yet something fragile fractures in its glass each time her steady eyes meet mine. The court may crown me moon and gold, but she alone sees what I hold. What strange rebellion lives inside her calm, that neither title, wealth, nor beauty bends? She moves as if the palace were a puzzle, a quiet riddle reason comprehends. And though the empire kneels before my name, her silence is the only flame. Camellia fragrance fills the silent square, soft petals drifting underneath the moon. Two hidden truths the lanterns never share, two quiet storms approaching far too soon. The palace walls divide our worlds apart, too still the flowers breathe their subtle thread, a fragrance winding slowly through the heart, a thought more dangerous than dread. The camellias keep their counsel in the night, their petals fall where secrets dare not stay, and somewhere in their drifting ghost of white, I almost hear her footsteps fade away.
Fire, water, air. Every soul is born carrying weather inside it. The ancients named the world through elements, because language alone could not contain it. Stone for endurance, flame for hunger, water for grief, wind for freedom, impossible to hold. I spent years believing contradiction meant fracture. Then nature taught me otherwise. Mountains survive by remaining still. Rivers survive by surrendering shape. Within every force lives a philosophy, a method of enduring existence. And somewhere between ruin and rebirth, I recognize myself in all four. Held a weight I could not carry alone. Fire translated silence into desire. Water taught the body how to really sorrow. Air reminded me no cage is permanent. Each element carried a wound and a blessing. Creation and destruction sharing the same mouth. Nature never feared contradiction, only imbalance. In the symphony beneath creation itself, oceans mourn while mountains remain listening. Wildfire clears the dead wood from the spirit, and wind carries the ashes toward becoming. Earth moves me when the world fractures violently. Water moves through grief without apology. Fire burns away identities built from fear. Air opens every locked room inside the mind. I belong not to one force alone, but to the sacred tension between them. Water arrived first in my life as tenderness, then later returned wearing storms that carved patience into coastlines. Proved softness can outlast stone eventually. Fire was never merely destruction either. Sometimes burning is purification. Sometimes the old self must blacken at the edges before truth survives visibly. The wind carried voices from impossible distances, memories, omens, unspoken instincts, invisible yet powerful enough to reshape entire landscapes. And earth, ancient patient earth, held every collapse without judgments, a witness older than language itself, teaching resilience through stillness. Beneath the soil, above the atmosphere, spirit threads itself through all living things, not separate from nature, woven directly into it. Balance was never perfection, only movement, only learning when to root, when to burn, when to flow, when to let go. In the great elemental symphony, I hear myself clearly now, not singular, but composed from opposing forces, learning harmony. The ocean still crashes against the mountain, the wildfire still rises toward the storm, and somehow the world remains beautiful anyway. Earth steadies the trembling architecture of my body. Water teaches compassion without surrender. Fire keeps desire alive beneath despair. Every to listen. I didn't cry wolf from fear, I cried it from fluency. I knew which words moved bodies, which alarms unlocked doors. Truth wasn't absent, it was just inefficient. I learned the leverage of urgency early, how panic signs papers faster than proof. Every memo sharpened with borrowed disaster, every forecast dressed halfway to truth. I didn't lie, I exaggerated oxygen, let small sparks cosplay as ruins. When warnings become currency, inflation needs the signal alive. The siren still works mechanically, it's belief that doesn't survive. I said this is critical too many times, watch the phrase lose weight in real time. Now emergencies cue like spam, filtered out by the hands I trained. I said this is it, till it wasn't. Now this arrives undocumented. The room learned the choreography of sighs, eyes glazing like meetings on repeat. Concern became theater etiquette, nod politely, stay in your seat. I mistook attention for readiness, confused reaction with resolve. Escalate, escalate, no response. Escalate, go. Flagged as noise. Escalate, escalate, attached. Credibility redacted, voice destroyed. Then came the threat that doesn't posture. No headline, no rehearsal frame, just numbers bending in the wrong direction. Just consequence calling my name. I spoke without metaphor for once, but clarity sounded like deja vu. I said this is critical too many times. Now silence is policy compliant. Truth knocks softly, badge revoked, while risk assessments clear their throats. I said believe me until belief quit. Now reality doesn't need permission. Ooh, ooh. And the system didn't fail dramatically, it simply stopped returning my calls. The cost of false urgency compounds, interest paid in delayed alarms. I watched the fallout from the inside, finally accurate, finally alone. Ooh, ooh. What is expertise without restraint? What is foresight if it performs? I weaponized probability, then wondered why certainty wouldn't form. The wolf didn't sprint, it audited, it arrived on schedule, not loud. Ooh, ooh. If there's a lesson, it is in silence, it's precision sharpened with humility. Say less until less becomes unbearable, let truth earn its velocity. I would trade every early warning for one that lands intact. Escalate, escalate, too late. Escalate, no trust left. Escalate, wolf at the door. Signed in ink I overspent. Some reputations die of overuse. Some alarms from being correct too soon. If I speak again, it won't be urgent, it'll be undeniable, immune. I won't cry wolf, I'll open the gate, let reality introduce itself. Ooh, ooh. Was never the lie, only the timing was wrong. Truth doesn't need volume, just a voice that hasn't been pawned. I shut my eyes, and all I see is dark. Not emptiness, but the quiet soil of becoming. Shadows gather like patient hands around the edges of thought. My lungs expand slowly, pulling light through invisible doors. Air becomes memory, memory becomes knowing. And in the hush beneath my heartbeat, I remember something older than my name. I am the tree that stands in the world, not hurried, not frightened by seasons. Roots descending through the grammar of earth, learning the language of minerals and rain. They wander deep through patient darkness, braiding them smells of stone and time. Every thread of root, a question asked to the soil, and the soil answers with nutrients shaped like quiet wisdom. Above the ground my spine becomes trunk, rings of memory hidden beneath bark. Years written in widening circles, each one whispering, endure. Leaves unfold like listening hands, green mirrors reaching upward toward the generous machinery of light. Every beam of sun translated slowly into breath. I rise because the earth remembers me, roots drinking the patience of stone, leaves turning light into living, a quiet alchemy of bone and chlorophyll, strong enough to live through weather, flexible enough not to break with the wind. I am the tree standing between sky and soil, reading for a world that forgets how to breathe. Root deep, rise high, drink the light of an endless sky. Root deep, rise high, the world moves through me and I do not deny. Hear me, fire, on the bark that coats me safe, your embered breath tracing stories across the skin of wood. Not destruction, the transformation, the reminder that warmth and danger are siblings in the same bright house. Hear me, wind, dance through the architecture of my branches, tickled up fingers of every leaf. Let the canopy shiver with laughter, each trembling blade translating motion into music. I will bend when you arrive, I will sway when you insist, because strength without movement is only another name for fracture. Hear me, water, silver messenger of sky, fall gently through the breathing leaves, wander down the ladder of bark, enter the earth again where my roots are waiting. Water feeding the soil that feeds my bones, earth holding the roots that hold my breath, wind writing poems through every branch, fire warming the bark of living skin, for quiet teachers surrounding my stillness, for voices shaping my form, and I stand in their patient circle, learning how existence grows. The earth gives me home, not possession,
but perches. A place to stand without apology. My spirit begins to quiet. The mind loosens its endless commentary. Like birds finally settling into the evening branches, sap rises through invisible highways, light pours into green corridors, breath becomes slower, deeper, wider, and somewhere above the noise of thought, another awareness begins unfolding, not climbing, but expanding into memory older than fear. Into air wide enough to hear. Where the silence lives, rise high into the light that gives. I am the tree, standing patient in weather. Stores pass through my living cathedral. Roots anchor me deeper in darkness. While leaves gather of sun, strong enough to welcome the thunder, flexible enough to sing with the gale between earth and sky. I become the bridge where breath turns into life. The wind quiets, water sleeps in the soil, fire blows gently beneath distant stars, and the earth holds me with ancient generosity. My spirit grows still as the mind grows still. Branches reaching upward through layers of silence, roots streaming downward through centuries of stone, and somewhere between them consciousness widens, ascending not by leaving the world, but belonging to it completely.
I learned the word wolf before I learned the cost. Before echoes stiffened and applause went frost, I rang the air like a copper bell for sport. Watch concern run barefoot from every porch. My mouth was a meadow where panic would graze. I fed it drama called hunger, a game. I stitched my boredom into animal shapes. Let shadows wear teeth, let fear wear my face. Each warning was theater, smoke in the lungs. I learned how to tremble without being young. Their trust was a ladder I climbed with a grin. Every rung creaked mercy, I carved fiction in. Truth doesn't shout, it ferments in the chest. It waits for a moment, you don't second guess. I train my voice into carnival glass, pretty when breaking, impossible to patch. I cried wolf till the word lost its bones, till danger sounded like dial tones. When truth finally bled through my throat, it tripped on the lies I'd already wrote. I cried wolf till the sky went still. Now silence answers louder than will. Call me, no one came. Call me, the hill knew my name. Call me, too late to prove which how was false, which one was true. The flock grew fluent in rolling their eyes. Concern learned rest, then learned how to die. I wore disbelief like a second skin, laughing at fires I hadn't lit yet, but would ever
dry now. Even God just lets it lie. Then came the sound that doesn't rehearse. A weight in the grass, a sentence worse. No metaphor, just breath and bone, just amber eyes where jokes had grown. My lungs went honest, my voice went raw, too naked now for the crowd I taught. What is a warning if it's rehearsed? What is a mouth if it's always first? I begged with the language I'd counterfeit my truth, wearing costumes I taught it to fit. The wolf didn't rush, it let me explain. It knows all about hunger dressed up as pain. The hill stood still like a held breath. No footsteps came to negotiate death. I learned too late what honesty weighs, how it starves when you feed it praise. The flock scattered into the long grass line. I stayed with the echo I'd overmined. Call me signalized. Call me truth has a cause. Call me through all the wolves. Every lie taught them how to move. If I survive, I'll speak in scars. Let silence finish half my bars. No more fireworks built from fear. No more borrowed screams to keep you near. I'll let the real things bruise my tone. Let meaning arrive overgrown. I cried wolf till the word collapsed, till faith learned how to relapse. If I ever warn you again, listen for the lack of flame. Truth doesn't sparkle, doesn't perform. It just stands there keeping its form. Some lessons live because they bite. Some stories only work once in a life. If you hear me now, hear me slow. I'm not asking you to run, I know. I'm asking you to remember this rule. A voice is a blade, use it true. The hill still listens when I breathe, but it doesn't answer make believe. Somewhere a wolf unlearns my name. Somewhere silence forgives the same. Your name sat warm beneath my tongue. Unfinished scripture in the back of the throat. I learned how restraint sharpens hunger, how silence can bruise more deeply than confession. Let me breathe my words from behind your ear gently, slow enough to rearrange the pulse.
Every sentence I withheld travels now beneath your skin like contraband heat. You see my wrists above my head, offering a warning. Perception fractures there. My legs where you imagine them, yes, but memory is a room with too many locked doors. Close your eyes, forget the geometry of mercy. I am the widow in the web, patient with appetite. Threads lacquer your wrists, your careful balance. Each movement teaching surrender to itself. Hear me, fear me. The quiet between my breaths has teeth hidden in velvet marrow. Paranoia flowers best where nothing visible moves. I do my work in silence, watching the fracture spread beneath the mask you wear. You called me tame enough to hold and woke the lioness sleeping under etiquette. Now every room bends towards suspicion. Every soft thing carries venom in the silk. You cannot see what waits behind my face, only the shape it leaves inside your nerves. Your heartbeat stumbled when I stopped speaking. That was the first incision. No blade, only absence curling cold around the spinal wire. I learned your fears by the way you inhaled. The body confesses before the mouth ever can. You mistook stillness for obedience, mistook patience for surrender. Now the web tightens invisibly, not force, inevitability. A hand at the back of the neck or fate, leaning close enough to whisper. Behind the mask, there is no mask. Only the animal made elegant through starvation. Only the woman who swallowed every scream until silence became a second bloodstream. I was never restrained. I was measuring the room, and you offered your pulse willingly. Hear me, fear me. The quiet is no longer empty. It moves with deliberate hunger now. My words pass through your veins unspoken. A fever without visible origin. You woke the lioness from her slumber. Now every shadowless corner breathes my shape. Close your eyes if you need mercy, but silence remembers exactly where you are. Exactly where you are. The web was never around you. It was already inside you. Line up, darlings of the corridor. The velvet curtains are already breathing. Caps tilted like halos made of cardboard. Tassels trembling in fluorescent wind. Tonight we celebrate the ending of your beginning and the beginning of your beautiful ruin. The lockers whispered down the hall, their metal throats ajar. Each dent a fossil memory of who you thought you were. Your laughter once ricocheted like coins across the tile, but echoes age much faster than the children who compile. The bells that ruled your mornings now quiver out of tune. A
crooked overture for the commencement of your ruin.
Step in time, smile and sway. Every crown of paper gray is just a reef for yesterday.
The auditorium yawns beneath its velvet lungs of dust, where folding chairs remember every adolescent trust. Publims rustle nervously like wings that cannot fly, while cameras bloom like orchids in a garden built on lies. Each handshake hides a contract no one warned you to read, a signature disguised as ceremony.
They stitched your gown from sleepless nights, from caffeine prayers and fluorescent lights. They pinned a tassel to your doubts,
And dimmed the exits on the way out.
throw your caps into the chandelier air. Watch them spin like little prayers for gilded years beneath the glare. Have crowned you heirs to thin despair.
Wave to the crowd, let the cameras grin. The orchestra strikes its skeletal din. The march is bright, the future's fair. At least that's what they printed there. The valedictorian clears their throat like glass about to break, reciting polished constellations no heart could ever make. Behind the smile a flicker lies, a thought too sharp to show that every polished destiny is something you must owe. The stage lights bloom like interrogation signs, and suddenly the ceremony has begun.
Step in line, don't delay. Every smile signed away in ink that will not fade.
The band begins a march that limps along its broken spine, a jubilant hallucination trembling out of time. Parents clap like distant thunder in a paper sky of cheer, while every whispered promise sounds increasingly unclear. Confetti drifts like pale confessions through the air, tiny ghosts of futures going nowhere.
Now graduates of borrowed light. Spin your dreams beneath the night.
Every ribbon, every sash is woven from tomorrow's ash. You wanted freedom past the gate, but freedom sometimes arrives as fate, and fate applauds with lacquered hands while gently tightening its plans.
Throw your caps into the chandelier air. Watch ambition catch and flare. The march resounds through velvet glare, a hymn for fragile millionaires.
The choir hums, the brass declares your future waits beyond the stairs, but every step you take from there begins the spiral of repair. Outside the doors, the summer breeze in patient amber waves, unaware of contracts inked inside these paper graves. The gowns drift softly like the wings of moths at dawn, creatures born for light already nearly gone. And somewhere in the applause's hollow tune begins the soft percussion of your ruin.
Raise your caps like crowns of flame. The orchestra remembers every name. The march that led you to this stair now dissolves into the
To the attendant by the door, your destinies have already been filed. Thank you for attending the ceremony. Breaking news, somewhere below the blue, a man still descending long after reason tapped the glass. The ocean does not interrupt him, it only waits. The anchor says it calmly, professionally, like depth is just another number. A red line crawling down the screen, each meter quieter than the last. I'm on the couch with my hands and fists, already yelling at the future. Because some distances don't forgive curiosity, and some thresholds don't clap when crossed. You don't feel danger all once. It arrives as pressure, pretending to be peace. Turn back. You've gone far enough to still be alive. This isn't bravery, it's drift. The sea doesn't reward devotion, it just finishes what you insist on starting. Turn back before down becomes the only direction left. The diver's voice crackles thin and confident, a man still narrating his own myth. He talks about visibility, about silence, about how beautiful the dark has become. I'm screaming at glass and time, delay at the lie that calm equals control. Because the deep doesn't need your consent to begin rewriting your bones. Depth is not a metaphor, depth is not impressed. They mention rescue like a footnote, a submersible with limits printed in steel, maximum rated def, operational window. Words that sound sturdy until they aren't. There's a point where help becomes hypothetical, where even machines say no further, and the ocean nods in agreement. The pressure doesn't rush him, it's patient, architectural. It stacks itself molecule by molecule, building a cathedral of force around his chest. I know the moment before he does, the one where ascent stops being an option and starts being nostalgia. Physics doesn't argue, it just closes the distance. Turn. You're not proving anything to the deep. This isn't exploration anymore. The rescue line is snapping invisibly, and no one runs pressure forever. Turn back while the surface is still a memory you can reach. The feed goes quiet in a way that feels intentional, as if the ocean cleared its throat. The numbers keep changing though, descending like a decision, refusing to be undone. I'm shouting now, irrational, furious at a man who can't hear me, at the part of us that always believes just a little farther won't be the line. Every warning came earlier, every limit was posted clearly. Curiosity dressed itself as courage, and the deep never corrected him. There's a silence that isn't absence, it's containment. say the words without poetry. No vehicle can reach that depth. Not now, not in time, not ever. Maybe the ocean doesn't gloat, it doesn't need to. It has already finished the math. Depth is not a metaphor. Depth is not a metaphor. Depth is. I wake up with my throat burning, still yelling at someone who chose down. Still furious at the part of the dream that felt preventable. Because the worst tragedies aren't storms, they're decisions made slowly, with perfect visibility. Long after the last safe turn. Turn back. Not everything hidden needs to be touched. Some knowledge is just weight. The ocean didn't kill him with anger. It accepted his insistence without comment. Turn back before wonder becomes a grave you volunteered for. Broadcast ends. The screen goes blue. Somewhere below reach, the pressure holds exactly as designed, and I'm still screaming. Not because he didn't know, but because he did.
When we said fire, we meant heat. When we said collapse, we meant wait. This wasn't symbolism, it was instruction. We spoke in plain structures and consequences, ink was chained carefully to effect. Ambition unchecked wasn't a character flaw, it was a predictable defect. When we said power concentrates, we meant it obeys gravity. When we said corruption spreads, we meant it moves faster than accountability. You thought the language was dramatic, that the warnings were just for persuasion, but we were engineers naming stress points, not poets chasing sensation. Faction wasn't a vibe or a mood, it was friction we mapped in advance. Tyranny wasn't a costume change, it was what happens when no one says can. We didn't predict the future, we described the machine. The warnings were not metaphors, they were measurements and load. They were lines drawn at the failure point of power left alone. If it sounds familiar now, that's not fate or irony. It's the system behaving exactly the way it was designed to when discipline leaves. When we said slow, we meant friction prevents fracture. When we said delay, we meant time reveals intention. When we said compromise, we meant survival under pressure, not weakness, not surrender, not regression. This was a manual, not a myth. You read the words like literature, quoted them like ornaments, but they were closer to warning labels than incidental comments. Don't do this wasn't moral panic, it was physics applied to power. Ignore it long enough and collapse stops being hypothetical. We said factions would harden, that loyalty would outrun truth. We said outrage would feel righteous and still eat the roof. We said demagogues wouldn't arrive loudly, they'd come smiling and sure. We said freedom dies incrementally when restraint feels outdated or boring. You don't outgrow these warnings, you test them. The warnings were not metaphors, they were written to impress. They were written to be followed when following felt like less. If you thought they were exaggerations, check the current state. The cost of ignoring precision is never subtle or late. Some of us warned about speed, some about silence, some about exclusion disguised as order, some about belief without balance. Different voices, same conclusion. Power behaves predictably when left unexamined and applauded loudly. This wasn't prophecy, it was pattern recognition. This wasn't fear-mongering, it was maintenance instruction. We weren't being poetic, we were being specific about what breaks first. So when the scenes start showing now, when the system strains and groans, don't ask how this happened, suddenly ask who stopped doing the work they were warned not to abandon, because every failure you're watching was footnoted clearly in advance. The warnings were not metaphors, they were precise by design. They assumed you'd be tempted to believe you were different this time. If restraint feels optional, if discipline feels old, that's the exact condition. The warnings were written for long ago. We didn't say this might happen, we said this is what happens. The only variable was whether you'd listen when the language stopped feeling historical and started feeling
They sell the weather of truth in fragments, forecasted facts that fracture by morning. Every headline hums with a second intention, a thin metallic whisper beneath the warning. The lies they say, the truth they say, but language bends like heat above asphalt, and certainty flickers. A moth rehearsing its death in the lamp of the day, where in the world are facts today. I saw a man walking with something behind him, not following, not chasing, simply waiting inside the outline of his shadow. The Reaper keeps patient geometry there, rib thin patience, size, shape, silence, not hunting, no, just measuring distance. And on his laps it's envy, restless fingers tapping emerald rhythms on bone. Greed rattles softly, chain against chain, a quiet currency of want and ownership. Pride deals cards with a smiling precision, stacking the deck with reflections of mirrors for sins at a table inside one silhouette, negotiating futures and murmured figures above them. The sky forgets its color. Somewhere between rust and sermon, the air tastes faintly of burned out answers, and the man keeps walking as if the weight of eternity were merely a coat he forgot he was wearing. Where in the world does silence gather before it falls like ash on a crowded street? Where did innocence hide its breathing under the floorboards of memories beat? I hear the city muttering numbers and rumors, truth dissolving in patient patience, and somewhere a clock forgets its counting. Each second a quietly vanishing stare slots its massive in the center of the world, a throne of unfinished intentions. Dust gathers in the lungs of tomorrow while we rehearse our distractions. No one cares, says the quiet machine. No one looks, says the flickering feed. Attention fractures into glittering splinters, a cathedral collapsing into speed. Meanwhile, the reaper leans closer to daylight, studying the pulse of a crowd. Not cruel, just curious, how loud a civilization can speak while burying truth in a whisper too loud. Greed counts breaths like currency, envy compares the gravity of souls. Pride writes history in perfect calligraphy, then sells the margins as goals. Where in the world did innocence vanish? No footprints, no echo, no door, just a lullaby sung by statistics and a lock clicking softly once more. Where in the world is the day silence claims us when the noise collapses to bone? Where did the innocent run when the markets auction the marrow of hope alone? Is the world just a flame learning to mimic the shape of a civilized room? A limbo of voices politely debating the temperature needed for doom. The reaper finally speaks, not loud, not cruel, not even severe, just a syllable shaped like a mirror. Here in the shadow of comfort and commerce, here in the grammar of managed despair, here where the truth is a rumor with bruises, somewhere innocence breathes and hiding, counting the distance between what we are and what we once swore we were. The palace glows with lantern fire tonight. 1,000 eyes reflecting who I seem.
They bow before the legend of my face.
A gilded fiction polished into a dream. But every corridor still echoes lies.
Perfume disguising tired disguise. They praise a moon that never truly rose, a portrait carved from rumor's silk and art.
Each reverent glance, another quiet shade wrapped softly around a borrowed heart.
The court believes the mass they see, yet one sharp gaze refuses me.
Camellias full of all this sound, their fragrance drifting through the ground, a truth concealed in petal breath.
A sweetness balanced close.
She walks the halls like someone passing through.
A servant's step, a scholar's restless mind.
Where others kneel before my crafted grace.
Her quiet eyes remain unaligned.
She
share.
A hidden fire within the air. She claims the court is nothing but a game, a garden thick with poison and deceit.
Her hands remember mortar, root and flame.
A language reason alone can speak. Yet when she turns and vanishes from view,
The silence grows unbearably true.
camellias drift across the jade courtyard.
Their fragrance lingering where she stood.
A subtle spell no emperor commands.
A mystery no rank has understood.
I've worn 1,000 faces, not my own. A mask perfected by imperial design. Yet something fragile fractures in its glass. Each time her steady eyes meet mine.
The court may crown me moon and gold,
But she alone sees what I hold.
what strange rebellion lives inside her calm?
That neither title, wealth, nor beauty bends.
She moves as if the palace were a puzzle,
A quiet riddle reason comprehend.
and though the empire kneels before my name,
Her silence is the only flame. Camellia fragrance fills the silent square.
soft petals drifting underneath the moon.
Two hidden truths the lanterns never
Two
share.
quiet storms approaching far too soon.
The palace walls divide all worlds apart. Yet still the flowers breathe their subtle thread. A fragrance winding slowly through the heart.
A thought more dangerous than dread.
The camellias keep their counsel in the night. Their petals fall where secrets dare not stay.
And somewhere in their drifting ghost of white,
A question waits between our silent steps Room 137 waits again tonight. The fluorescent constellations flicker into place. Attendance has already been taken by the dust that sleeps along the chalk tray's spine. Some chairs forget their students, but this one remembers everything. They carve their boredom into desks like runes of minor gods. A liturgy of pent-up storms and murmured monologues. Your laughter drifted lazy as a smoke ring in the air. A halo made of apathy no syllabus could repair. I watched the seasons gather in the margins of my name. Each semester fed the quiet engine of the same. I try to plant a lantern where your shadows like to grow, a fragile kind of patience that the hallway couldn't know. But time keeps grading teachers just as sharply as the rest, and something in this chair refused to grant me any rest. The chair remains, the years decay, yet still the ledger learns my way. Each whispered sheet, each vacant stare is incense for the waiting chair. You thought I'd fade like chalk in rain, another footnote filed in pain. But roots grow deep where cynics stare, and I have grown into the chair. I taught the rebel with the match and the prodigy who slept, the poet who hid galaxies in essays barely kept. I heard 1,000 dramas bloom beneath the locker's breath, tiny tragedies performed in adolescent depth. Your future's flickered fragile as a projector's dying beam, and I was left to haunt the flicker of the dream. Stay a while, the chair remembers. Stay a while, the chair remembers you. The hallways hum like ancient wires beneath a tiled sea, a quiet choir of footsteps chanting tired liturgy. I watched ambition fossilize in glowing phone-lit eyes, while rumors spread like ivy vines of delicate disguise. Each year another orbit carved around my patient stare, until my shadow learned the posture of the chair. The chair remains through storm and sigh, a witness no one can deny. Your restless jokes, your whispered dares are echoes folded in its prayers. You thought the system cracked my spine, another ghost erased by time. But roots have threaded through despair, and I have grown into the chair. The gray book breathes like velvet lungs of ink and afterthought, each page a quiet battlefield of battles rarely fought. The organ moans in minor keys beneath the classroom floor, as if the building learned the grief it never sang before. And in the stillness after bells dissolve into the air, I hear the slow heartbeat of the chair. I once believed a teacher was a lantern in the rain, a fragile hand that steadied ships of curiosity and pain. But lanterns dim when storms refuse to loosen from the mast, and some lights learn to glow by feeding on the past. So call it tenure, call it myth, call it stubborn prayer, but something older now is sitting in this chair. The chair remains beyond the bell, a throne no weary time can fell. Your passing years, your vanished prayers are dust upon the ancient chair. You thought I'd break beneath the strain, another name erased by rain. But roots have conquered thin despair, and I have become the chair. If you pass room 137 late at night, you may hear the quiet turning of a page. No one is inside. Yet attendance is still being taken.
lost before it learned honesty. Silence became expensive, but survivable still. Beneath the eyes, color waited patiently for spray. Words froze somewhere behind my teeth, too heavy to lift into daylight. So I carried entire oceans of feeling without disturbing the surface once. People mistake quiet for emptiness often. They do not understand restraint as survival. Do not understand how silence sharpens itself inside rooms where speaking feels dangerous. But silence was never weakness. It was winter camouflage, a blade hidden beneath still water, waiting for thaw. I kept asking the same impossible question: do I grieve the self I lost, or welcome the stranger slowly emerging from the ruins? Every pause, breath carried unfinished music. Every heartbeat hummed beneath the frost. Transformation rarely arrives loudly. Sometimes it melts inward first. From frost to flame, I followed the faintest warmth available through gray horizons and colorless years. Still searching, even when silence stole language from my mouth. Something radiant survived beneath the numbness. I walked through shadows slowly enough to heal honestly. Sketched on with trembling hands, still learning trust. Winter could not keep what was always meant to bloom. I was quiet, but never truly extinguished. My soul flickered like a buried ember, held too long beneath emotional snowfall. Pain taught me endurance carefully, but I refused to let it teach me cruelty. The world doled itself around my vision, every color arriving muted at first, as though life itself hesitated to fully return after so much absence. Still I painted skies internally, blues, reds, golds, half remembered from childhood. Frozen hands relearning sensation through small acts of hope. No more hiding grief beneath politeness, no more disguising ache as composure. Each recovered color reclaimed territory. Winter believed it owned permanently. Every dawn arrived like a brushstroke. Every exhale proved the thaw had started. The frost cracked slowly, not violently, like a body finally trusting warmth again. After years expecting cold, from frost to flame, I crossed the distance back to myself. Through shattered seasons and silent grief, still becoming what once felt colorless now burns vivid against the horizon. Proof survival can evolve into beauty. The hush before the symphony lived inside me all along. The roar was permission to emerge. I paint the sky now with everything I survived. Every scar becoming pigment in the light. Winter touched me deeply, but never completely. I was silence, I was frost, but color remembered my name. Ashes to ashes. What collapsed was never sacred. The sea remembers every former name. But I came here to become unrecognizable. Across the blackened ribs of water, I watched my reflection fail to hold still, watched old cells loosen from my face. The tide kept speaking in unfinished tongues, not mercy, invitation, a pulse beneath the undertow, calling buried instinct back to the bone. I searched the surf for proof I existed, found only sparks inside the doubt, both lived inside the same wound. What trembles is not weakness, only transformation before it learns its shape. Ashes to ashes, I reached into the blaze barehanded. Fire to fire, let the furnace speak my hidden name. I said it, grief, regret, abandoned versions of myself. Watch them blacken beautifully. I burned to become ungovernable. This forge was never punishment, it was inheritance. Through smoke, thick breath, and marrow deep ruin, I rose, carrying my own horizon inside me. A phoenix moved beneath my skin, restless with teeth and thunder. The shell I wore split open at the spine. This is the vow, no fear survives. I am the storm, learning how to walk upright in flame. The fire consumed what obedience built, chains softened into molten veins. Every silence once forced into my mouth evaporated in crimson heat. Cell by cell the body revolted, nerves lit gold beneath the skin. Pain became architecture, something fierce enough to live inside. I bent until the old shape shattered, not broken shit. The exile ended where the burning started. Some doors only open through destruction. Ashes are not endings. Ashes are soil after catastrophe. I pressed my hands into the ruin and felt dragons breathing there. Every fear I buried grew scales and hunger. Every scar learned language. I stopped praying for rescue. The moment I recognized myself inside the fire, I burned to be free, not cleansed but awakened. I rise to
I became the shape forged after burning. Ashes to ashes. Fire to fire. What survived the blaze was never fragile. It was waiting. You mistook adaptation for surrender. That has always been your favorite era. They taught you comfort through repetition. Same smiles laminated over vacant weather. Every hallway carried the perfume of rehearsed belonging. Then something irregular entered the frame. A nervous system that listened too sharply. A mouth that answered sideways. A gaze that noticed the machinery behind social choreography. You called it arrogance first. Monsters always receive practical names. And I watched your certainty twitch. Tiny contractions near the jawline. The polite laugh arriving half a second late. The tribal pulse beneath professionalism. Because the herd fears mirrors more than wolves. You wear normality like ceremonial armor. Thin metal dressed as permanence. But fear leaks through your posture. Whenever the pattern fails to hold, I was never your predator. Only the evidence that your rules collapse outside consensus. And that terrifies you. So you sharpened diagnosis into ritual, called difference a threat to morale. Built quiet little cages out of etiquette and passed them off as kindness. I learned early. Most exile is administered softly. No burning villages, no visible chains. Just invitations thinning over time. Voices cooling by fractional degrees. The subtle mathematics of exclusion still. The strange survive by developing internal continents, while the typicals require witnesses to confirm they exist. Here's the secret you buried beneath all your systems. I stopped needing your recognition years ago. That is why you cannot map me. You mistake compliance for peace, predictability for morality, similarity for safety. But beneath your coordinated gestures, your synchronized outrage, your curated empathy, I hear exhaustion. The terror of anyone who has never met themselves outside the crowd. So when the rules go silent, when performance finally loses oxygen, you will understand why my solitude never resembled punishment. I built identity in isolation. You outsourced yours to applause. That is the difference. And when the herd sleeps, when consensus loosens its grip around your throat, you may finally hear your own unfinished mind breathing. I was never the nightmare, only the interruption. And interruptions are how sleeping systems discover they were dreaming.
like unfinished instruments, trying to survive the same storm together. Every person enter carrying different timing, different damage, different rhythms inherited from rooms no one else had lived inside. Some arrived sharp with grief, others hollowed thin by silence. A few carried entire symphonies privately beneath ordinary conversation. Alone, we mistook ourselves for broken music, fragments without resolution, single notes trembling uncertainly inside enormous darkened halls. But harmony was never sameness, it was tension learning coexistence, dissonance held long enough, eventually becoming beautiful through context. Even fractured notes belong somewhere, even trembling hands can conduct meaning. The unfinished heart still carries rhythm, even while cracking open. Play me like I am still becoming, not repaired, perfectly integrated. Honestly, let every scar alter the arrangement, let every silence teach the orchestra new breath. One broken sound can redirect an entire composition. One surviving voice can keep the movement alive. If we bend instead of shattering completely, we discover music hidden inside adaptation. This is the miracle no one mentions. The symphony deepens after loss. Sometimes an instrument disappears unexpectedly. A chair sits empty beneath the stage light. The absence vibrates louder than sound itself, threads pulling loose across the ensemble. You cannot replace certain frequencies. Some voices alter the architecture permanently. The orchestra learns grief physically, through hesitation, through imbalance, through missing weight. The audience hears imperfection immediately, a stumble in tempo, a wounded transition, but survival often sounds unfinished while occurring. Still the remaining players continue carefully adjusting breath, redistributing melody, finding new ways to carry what remains. Not every composition begins beautifully. Some are written in hospital rooms, in grief-struck kitchens, in sleepless apartments where loneliness echoes louder than language. Yet even shattered music leaves resonance behind. Even silence becomes part of the arrangement eventually. What survives us is not perfection, it is the willingness to keep playing despite the fraction. Play me like I am still whole in progress, scarred, yes, but still capable of resonance. Let the broken and the luminous coexist openly. They were never enemies to begin with. We compose ourselves through collision, through timing mistakes, through grief adapting into wisdom, slowly enough to breathe. No life remains perfectly in tune forever. Still the orchestra rises night after night. Still trembling hands lift the bow again. Still the music reaches across impossible distances. Whenever people dare vulnerability together, and suddenly what sounded like noise alone becomes transcendence shared collectively. A cracked heart still carries structured life still carries song. Sometimes harmony is simply surviving long enough to hear the others join in. But darkness, my blanket, my sheltering hush, the purity of night gathering gently around the bones, comfort this unrestful soul, guide this wandering breath back toward the quieter texture of sleep, because the body remembers storms long after the sky has cleared. I am the tree again, spirit standing inside shadow, roots hidden in marrow, branches stretching through thought. Hear my plea in this one wakened skeleton of ours. Time bends strangely at night, minutes swell and fracture, clocks become uncertain witnesses to the restless machinery of mine. But time is only perception, a river the spirit can slow if it remembers how to listen. So hear my quiet petition to the north, to the south, to the west, to the east, for directions, breathing softly around the fragile house of sleep. Let tension fall from the body tonight, let fire dissolve the knots of worry, let air cool the fever of thought, let water rock the dreamer to rest, muscles release their silent arguments, the brain loosens its electric grip, because dreamland waits like a quiet forest where the spirit walks unafraid. Dreamland receives, dreamland receives, let the quiet spirit breathe. Dreamland receives, dreamland keep,
voice of dreams. Let my bed be water, the cradle rocking my bones. Let my blankets be fire, soft warmth across the skin. Let the mattress be earth, solid beneath every breath. Let my body be air, rising and falling in calm surrender. Breathing in deep, breathing out solid, breathing in slow, breathing out whole. Time softens its sharp edges, the night stretches wide, a field of quiet seconds where healing begins unseen. Dreamland besieged, dreamland besieged. Slow the river of restless thought. Dreamland keep guard the fragile gates of sleep. Let time become perception tonight, stretching wide and gentle. Let sleep rebuild the hidden under texture of muscle and nerve and soul. For the spirit grows strong in dreamland, not fleeing the waking world, but mending it quietly in the silent workshop of night. So I ask again to the north, oh goddess of mercy, to the south, oh God of mercy, to the west, oh goddess of mercy, to the east, oh goddess of mercy. Is spirits here, and spirit sends the fragile whisper of this one request. Grant mercy to this. No one sane builds a machine for the heart of a tornado. The core is a moving argument between sky and gravity. Steel twists, concrete kneels, air becomes a weapon. So we learn the older wisdom: if chaos has a center, work the edges. Out on the plains where the horizon forgets how to end, the sky rehearses its darker choreography. War air rising, cold air descending, invisible rivers crossing mid-sentence. Rotation begins as rumor, a drifting circle in the wind field, a quiet spiral practicing long before the funnel learns its name. Cattle feel it first, weather towers whisper it in data, and the air itself begins to lean. A mistake was always bravery. Humans love the center of storms, the dramatic photograph, the roaring column. But energy rarely begins with spectacle. It begins with pressure learning to turn. So build the nest where the spiral is still thinking, turbines anchored low in the grasslands, rugged blades listening for rotation. Not the tornado itself, never the furious throat of it, but the outer winds circling wider and wider. The first spiral harvests the edge of chaos where power gathers before it learns violence. So chase the monster, teach call them tornado edge energy nets, a scattered geometry of towers across the storm, a corridor, flexible frames, reinforced spines, turbines built like stubborn prairie grass. When the atmosphere begins, it slows in. The machines feel the tilt first, direction shifting, gusts sliding into rotation. Wind that once wandered now arrived with purpose, and the blades answered, because our tornado is not born suddenly, it practices. Minutes of widening circles, air rehearsing its spiral signature, energy gathering quietly like breath before a shot. So build the nets across the restless plains, let them face the rotating sky with patient machinery, each turbine catching fragments of the widening dire current sliding sideways, wind bending into orbit before the funnel descends, before the sirens begin. The end is already written, half the story, and the fields below have already scarred him. Listen in, if chaos must arrive, let it pay its all. This is not conquest. No machine will ever tame the full violence of a storm. Tornadoes are architects of ruin, brief gods of pressure and speed. But their beginnings are quieter, rotation testing its balance, energy wandering before it finds a spine. And in those early minutes, the planes breathe differently. Wind that once ran wild now moves a curved intention. Lies where the nets wait, not hunters, gardeners of motion. Somewhere beyond the turbines, a funnel might still descend. The storm will still roar. The part of its restless birth has already passed through. Spinning blades already translated into quiet current. Raise the towers where the spiral learns to walk. Let the turbines greet the turning centuries we watched the plains and feared the sky's sudden violence. Now the fields answer differently. Not defiance, not surrender, preparation, because chaos always announces itself quietly first in a wind that begins to curve. One job, two jobs, still counting coins beneath fluorescent wear. The body adapts to exhaustion disturbingly well. That's how the machine survives. Morning arrived tasting like burnt metal. Another commute through concrete arteries. Faces lit pale by phone screens. Everyone rehearsing endurance as identity. They called it ambition, called it discipline. But I watch people trade their nervous systems for insurance plans and temporary approval. Clock and smile correctly. Translate exhaustion into professionalism. The soul becomes quieter each year until even silence feels overworked. One paycheck vanished before touching my hands. Rent swallowed another month whole. I learned how to survive economically while starving spiritually in plain sight. The grind was marketed like salvation. Work harder, sleep later, stay grateful, as though collapse becomes noble if performed productively enough. I became a disciple of ticking clocks, kneeling before schedules that never loved me back. The dream they sold arrived pre-buried in debt. Another polished lie wrapped in patriotic language. One job, no real horizon, only survival wearing the mask of purpose. I smiled while my nervous system deteriorated quietly. Ash gathering where passion used to live. But still these lungs continue opening. Still something furious survives beneath the fatigue. The machine mistook exhaustion for surrender. It forgot human beings remember themselves eventually. The hours blurred into administrative fog. Weeks disappeared inside repetitive motion. I forgot what joy sounded like without background anxiety attached. Every promotion cost another piece of me. Another missed sunrise, another conversation cut short because survival demanded overtime again. Living became accounting, calories, gas money, due dates, even rest carry guilt now, as if stillness itself required justification. They wanted labor to feel sacred, wanted burnout reframed as virtue. But no machine deserves worship simply because it consumes efficiently. This isn't living. It's prolonged erosion with direct deposit. I was not born to spend my entire existence proving I deserve shelter. Not born to monetize every waking hour until my reflection resembles infrastructure. Somewhere beneath the fatigue, the original self still breathes, waiting, angry, unfinished, slave of light. No, only temporarily imprisoned by it. They took my time, my sleep, my youth in fragments, but failed to erase my name completely. Watch me rise with callous hands still shaking. Watch me remember desire outside productivity. The fire never vanished. It survived underground where systems couldn't tax it. One job, two jobs, maybe more tomorrow. But now I understand the difference between surviving and surrendering. No corporation owns the sacred architecture of my spirit. No clock determines the worth of my existence. I still breathe, still burn, and this time the flame answers to me. The flame answers to me. The flame answers to me. The system feeds on forgetting. So I remembered myself. And suddenly the cage looked smaller. They warned me what I would become if I stopped apologizing for surviving. Turns out they were right. Shrinking my teeth for comfort, softening every instinct into something socially edible. But suppression ferments strangely. Eventually, even silence develops claws. You called me difficult the first time I refused to kneel gracefully. Called me dangerous when obedience stopped fitting my bloodstream. Funny thing about monsters, most are engineered slowly, built from repeated cornering, from tenderness punished often enough to mutate. Now the fire remains visible, no mythology left to sanitize it, no mask polished for your reassurance, only appetite wearing confidence openly. 1, 2, 3, 4. You fear me now because I learned fear too intimately to worship it anymore. Burn it down, every room built from forced submission. Tear through the architecture that mistook captivity for love. This prison was always yours, not mine. I was simply born inside it. Yes, I became the monster in your cautionary tale, the woman who stopped bleeding quietly for approval. You call it corruption, I call it consciousness, sharpened into survival. I accept the darkness without asking forgiveness from the light, accept the hunger, the rage, the beautiful asymmetry of becoming. No leash remains around my throat now, only thunder learning how to speak with my voice. He threw me downward, expecting collapse. I built a throne from the impact, crater instead, ash beneath the fingernails, victory hidden inside every scar tissue. See, monster good, that means your categories finally failed to contain me. Isolation became sacramental after a while, a private cathedral free from performance. I drink solitude like ceremonial wine now, no audience required, no permission slip signed by trembling hands, still terrified of untamed women. The voices in my head once hunted me relentlessly, now even they step carefully. The creature they tried to suppress learn how to command the room. The monsters ran first. That's the irony no one discusses. Once I stopped fearing my own reflection, everything built on intimidation collapsed inward. I became what survived the cruelty. Not holy, not harmless, just impossible to control anymore. Burn it down, door to door, memory to memory. Let the old world choke on the smoke of its expectations. I was never your pet, your cautionary daughter, your compliant disaster. I am the queen beneath the foundation itself. Yes, I wear the title now openly. Monster, demon, tyrant, flame. Not because destruction defines me, but because survival without permission transforms me. Look closely. This is what happens when fear loses ownership of a person. The hunted learns the geometry of power. The silenced become catastrophic when they finally speak. Bad? Perhaps. Free? Entirely. Monstrous. Beautifully.
shadows held me first, not kindly, but consistently. Sometimes survival begins with whatever refuses to leave you alone in the dark. I made a home from isolation, slowly decorated the silence until it resembled safety. Laughter belonged to distant rooms, something overheard through closed doors. Darkness became familiar enough to trust, predictable in ways people never were. I wandered through quiet years, wrapped tightly in emotional winter. Comfort felt fictional then, a language meant for someone else's life. Still beneath that numbness, some fragile instinct continued imagining dawn. Not optimism exactly, something more stubborn. The refusal to believe suffering was the final form of existence. The shame kept whispering inherited lies, called itself truth, often enough to sound convincing. But even beneath unbearable weight, one small light remained irrationally alive. Through obsidian walls I learned the shape of persistence, crawling first and standing then, remembering movement where fear once screamed through every corridor of thought. Something gentler began answering back. Silence stopped behaving like a prison. It transformed into space wide enough for healing. Every wound became a doorway instead of a sentence. Every trembling breath proof I was still becoming. I rise slowly, honestly, imperfectly, but I told me anger would destroy me, never mentioned suppression could do the same. So I wrote my grief into hidden pages, planted truths beneath the frost line quietly. Healing alive in small unremarkable moments, a calmer heartbeat, a morning without dread, the sudden ability to imagine a future again. Even now the dark still hums beneath things. Trauma does not vanish theatrically, but its voice no longer dictates direction. It has become weather instead of prophecy. The shadows change once I stopped fleeing them. What haunted me most intensely often carried the exact lesson I needed to survive myself. This voice was never built for silence alone. It was forged to carry fire carefully through ruin. What once felt like a grave became soil, and from that soil, something living returned. Through obsidian walls I carved pathways toward the dawn, not untouched by suffering, transformed through it. The echoes where terror once ruled absolutely now carry music shaped from endurance. Silence sings differently to me now. No longer chains, but breath before becoming. Every scar catches light at a different angle. Proof survival leaves beauty behind accidentally. Yes, I still bleed sometimes. Still shake, still
untouched, just alive enough to shine anyway. He was not raised to ask why. He was raised to remove the question. Silence was the first lesson, not fear, not obedience. Silence. A child who asks can be redirected. A child who stops asking can be shaped. Training halls, swallowing the echo of footsteps, stone floors memorizing the weight of restraint. Screams weren't horror, they were data, measured in breath length, fracture rate. He learned the mathematics of mercy, how long a rib cage holds before it yields, how voice becomes vapor under pressure, how trembling interferes with the field. No cruelty, only calibration, no rage, only removal. He didn't flinch, he studied the interval between resistance and ruin. By the time the corridor stopped answering back, he had erased the word why from his bloodstream. Order over thunder, structure over flame. If chaos is a flood, then someone must become the frame. Emotion is interference, hesitation, decay. A dam does not debate the river it holds or gives way. He doesn't call himself righteous, he calls himself required. Not the fire in the city, the steel inside the wire. If law is cracked and splintered, he will brace the fracture line. Not pure, not kind, but aligned. He is not the storm that takes you, he is the wall that stays. Necessary, necessary, necessary. If I don't, someone worse will. Necessary, precision is mercy. Necessary, silence is stability. Pirates carve flags into skylines, revolution hums under breath. Kingdoms fall like loosened scaffolds, history rewritten in ash and death. He does not hunger for crowns, he does not posture or preach. He executes the arithmetic of threat within his reach. Chain of command like vertebrae. Remove one, the body bends. Remove enough and order fractures. Fractures invite the end. He does not improvise morality. He aligns like a compass to north. Right and wrong were archived early. Directive carries more force. He doesn't say the system's holy, he says it has to stand. A dam does not need beauty, only pressure in its hands. If innocence collapses under it, that's sediment in the flow. Better measure devastation than letting anarchy grow. He is not the fist that strikes you, he is the glove that fits. Necessary, because collapse is worse than this. I preserve what prevents the fall. Structure before all. Noise must be small, but alignment fractures. under pressure. North shifts when truth is known. If the law protects the tyrant, is enforcement still stone? He knows the rotten marble, names erased, chains disguised, centuries buried under banners, history sterilized. And if he sees it, truly sees it, then every strike becomes a choice. Not duty, not distance, but his voice. As the fissure in the armor, as the splinter in the creed. Once awareness enters silence, silence curdles into need. He tells himself controlled violence is kinder than the wild. Better me, precise in temper, than chaos uncompiled. But pride is a quiet ember, clean cuts still stain the floor. If he knows the blade is serving right, what is the blade for? Order over conscience, structure over doubt. If he pulls one beam from the ceiling, everything comes down. Emotion is corrosion, reflection disarray. A dam that questions purpose starts to drift away. He doesn't rage or revel, he doesn't bare his teeth. He fortifies the scaffold built on buried grief. He doesn't ride injustice, he keeps it standing tall. Not chaos, not monster, worse than both protocol. He is not the tyrant's laughter, he is the signed decree. Necessary, because he chooses not to see. Necessary, alignment over intrigue. Necessary, structure over break. If morality is optional, what does silence make? Monkey D breaks the lock, Uchi oils the hinge. One expands the horizon, one narrows the fringe. He was not born evil, he was optimized. But adulthood brings awareness, and awareness divides. Not guilty, not innocent, aligned. And in a world of inherited dreams, the darkest thing is insisting you must be necessary.
It's just a gift, or maybe it's a key. I open my hands, let the light spill through. A ribbon box with your name on it too. You take it in thinking it's all for free, but the bow is tied with a thread to me. I flood your sky with an endless storm. Every shadow you had is suddenly gone, and in the glow you forget the night. You follow the hand that gave you the light.
I didn't used to have a thing. No signature move, no brand. Just something broken. I started writing it down. There's a particular sound a car makes right before it betrays you. Not loud, just enough hesitation in the ignition to feel like a premonition. I used to ignore those sounds, now I annotate them. Mileage, temperature, weather conditions, mood. I log the tremor in the steering wheel like it's a prophecy misfire, and document the flicker in the dash like I'm decoding something conspire. Because once you pay enough for preventable failure, you start believing in evidence the way monks believe in prayer. I didn't choose this vigilance, it chose me in a parking lot at dusk. Receipt in hand, hope in pieces, trust turned into rust. Document everything, every rattle, every sting. When the world won't hold together, make a ledger out of it. I didn't have a thing, now I have timestamps and torque specs. Car repairs carved it into me, competence through side effects. I didn't mean to specialize, didn't mean to become precise, but survival writes in permanent ink when chaos charges twice. Log it, tag it, name the pattern in the static. If life won't give you magic, make maintenance your tactic. You said Jason has no energy, accidentally over-prepared, sarcastic while assembling a system no one else repaired. I used to drift through days like they were optional expansions. Now I keep folders labeled recurring failures and assumptions, because the first time it stranded me, I laughed it off as fate. The second time it cost me sleep. The third time I made a spreadsheet, hard numbers memorized like mantras, service intervals like sacred texts. If the universe insists on entropy, I insist on context. It's not obsession, it's adaptation. It's myth building with documentation. When you can't control the break, control the explanation. There's a moment you stop being casual, a moment the joke runs thin, a moment inconvenience hardens into this will not happen again. That's the forge, that's the core, memory burn. The smell of coolant and humiliation, the lesson you didn't want to learn. Document everything, not because I love control, but because I learned the cost of leaving gaps in the scroll. I didn't have a thing, now I archive the absurd. Every cracked hose, every roadside oath, every unkept word. Car repairs made a pattern seer, made a strategist of spite. If monsters hide in maintenance logs, I'll track them by their bite. It's never just the engine failing, it's a version of you that trusted ease. It's the realization that random is often just ignored degrees. Entropy doesn't hate you, it's simply thorough impatient. So I became thorough back, annotated, calibrated. Was I jaded, maybe? Or maybe I finally saw the system. Small neglect becomes catastrophe if no one writes it down to fix it. So now I keep records like they're weapons, like clarity is armor-plated skin. If I can map the break-in points, I can choose where not to bend. Log it, tag it, turn inconvenience strategic. If the world insists on friction, become quietly analytic. Document everything, not from fear but from design. When chaos knocks on metal doors, I answer line by line. I didn't have a thing, now I build them out of strain. Core memories don't just scar, they recalibrate your brain. Car repairs were never cars, sword, weaponize the why. So yes, I keep the records. Yes, I track the cost, because the day I started writing was the day I stopped being lost. I didn't used to have a thing. I didn't used to have truth. A little jaded, a little sharper. And if something breaks, it won't break me first.
They think he lost. I think he laughed last.
He stood at the edge where empire screamed, blood in the water, light in his grin. The world cracked wide with grief and gears, but he just laughed and let it spin. He didn't strike, didn't scream back. He lifted sky and broke the map. A wall rose up, not rage but jest, a final joke inside a trap. He danced while gods redrew the lines and slipped a laugh between their crowns. The red line bloomed like irony and cut their glory down. This isn't over, joy boy, wait, but time's amazing, you're too slow. He drew the sea in loops and riddles, said find me when the sky lets go. They made the rules and crowned the kings. He made the board, then let it sing. A spiral path, a compass lie, a punchline in the shape of sky. This isn't a prison, it's a punchline. The wall is laughing still. He raised it not to lock us in, but to twist the tyrant's will. You call it chaos, he called it comedy. A sea that folds, a fate off key. The grand line isn't broken, it's a map for those who see. They chase his name through shifting tides, but Joy Boy never left the stage. He bent the globe to grin and stall and tuck the truth inside a page. Laugh Tale was never hidden deep. It's written bold for those who bend. The wall's not fear, it's foreshadow of the world he meant to mend.
Let's give me a second to get my Steam store up and pause the music. I did play a little Palia earlier. Let's see, will Steam pop up yet? I do have The Sims 4. I got that updated, I think, a few hours ago because I wasn't sure if I was going to play that. I did try Stray Gods. I'm hoping if I do that, I'll actually be able to play it because for whatever reason it wasn't feeding through the desktop audio. And I do have the DLC for Stray Gods Orpheus. So there's that option. Let's see. Steam, are you working yet? No. Of course. Why would you want to work? Let me rename that back to draft. And then we'll close that. Let's see, we're gonna do that. Do this. Steam, open sesame. There we go. Let's see what I can share. Do. Go back down. So here's my computer game options. I have yet to play Stray yet. This, I do have the DLC. I'm just hoping that my OBS. Oh, I haven't played that one in years. I haven't touched a longing in about a year, so I probably beat that game already. I've played that one a few times. So, here's what's currently available on my laptop. I'm getting a new stove and dishwasher because the oven doesn't work and the drain pump went, so I'm not really going to go out to the PlayStation, so my laptop is what's available. I'll give um let's see. Hey, I mean, I got stuff in my wish list. I didn't even know that was in my wish list, and I'm watching Nero Brady play that right now. Um, I could try and find some free games. I played this on the play, not that, this Sky on the PlayStation, but it's been a while. Um, Hit Bongo Cat reminds me of a game that's on my phone right now. Um, try this. Anything catching anybody's eye or interesting? What else do I have? Yeah, definitely not a lot. but I'm up. Uh, let's see. Right. Totally got distracted. My bad. You. You. Yeah, nobody said anything in there either. I guess it's to me to make a decision. Um, let's do this. I'm going to restart the stream since it's almost 8 for a game. And I will see, and I'll pick a game based on how OBS works on the game. I think that's going to be my best bet. I wouldn't mind doing some more Stray Gods, but I also really want to play Stray. I have yet to touch it. So I gotta see what needs to be downloaded. So hold on to your horses while I restart OBS to get the gaming stuff going. I'll be right back.